Hello and welcome back to Cyberpark. I think it's the temperate zoo at this point, but I don't think I'm going to stick to that. It's just kind of been what it's been and what I've been working with. Before I continue on, right now I'm just building kind of a food court, so I figured this would be a good time to talk about a couple of other things. First of all, for my birthday, I got a new microphone. I got the Yeti X, replacing my old Yeti that I've had for years, probably as long as I had my old computer for, so 7 or 8 years, possibly even more. So hopefully the sound quality at this point is better and everything's functioning. I ran some tests and did some other things. And second of all, this video is obviously not gonna be my last, but I'm probably gonna take a break and move on to doing some builds in The Sims 4. I haven't played since the horse expansion pack came out, and I haven't built in it in a long time. I'm not really that big on the gameplay of Sims 4, but I do enjoy building in it. And this, not just this food court build, but this build in general was kind of hard for me to get through. I guess I wasn't feeling very inspired. And that might have something to do with the fact that I haven't unlocked a lot of the packs yet, so I'm kind of limited on the items I can use to build. But I plan on going in by myself at some point or another and just letting the game run so that I can unlock more pieces. And I also want to go back and retouch these buildings just on my own. Sometimes I feel like when you're recording, you can get a bit of, oh, I have to do this in this amount of time. And, you know, it's not really true, because anything that's just, I edit out anyways, so I'm not under a time limit or anything. One of the big things that happened during this build that I guess threw me off was, for some reason, the path right next to it, people kept getting stuck on. And I kept having to pause and go pick them up and move them somewhere else, because they'd sit there and scream about, oh, I'm stuck. And I couldn't figure out why, and then I removed the entire little plaza path there, and then I had to redo it, and it took, God, I don't know, 15 or 20 minutes to get the path placed back in there, and it was just a pain. And there's nothing particularly wrong with this building. I think it's better than what I end up doing for the Bison and the Pronghorn, but at the end of all of it, I do like the habitat I build, so maybe it's just buildings in general that I'm feeling a little iffy about. Ever since I did the wraparound for the moose, I've been kind of feeling that way. And basically I don't know why I had my mechanic unlock the African pack first, because that's not really matching the theme of what I'm going for with the animals and the rest of the zoo, so that was not the best decision. So I might go back and try and unlock the Arctic one before I continue on. But the problem with the African pieces is, a lot of the time pieces, you can use them simultaneously, but it's kind of limited. It's very themed. At some point I'll probably go in and have African animals placed, but for now those pieces aren't really working for me. So here we're putting on the roof, but I end up changing my mind about it because it looks bad. I think after this, I'm not entirely sure what animal I'm going to be doing. It might be the grizzly, just as my big selling point animal, but I haven't really decided yet, because as I said, I'm taking a break, and free builds seem to be really finicky this time around. I swear that building before I put that mod in didn't used to be that way. Everything used to snap into place very neatly, and now it just doesn't. So one of the things that, if you're playing on a hard mode or any mode and you need to save money and you're just utilizing the trees that are already in the area, that's going to save you a lot of money, which tends to be what I do. I use the smaller plants as filler like this, but then when it comes to big trees, I'll just go around outside and save myself a little bit of cash by stealing trees from around the environment, especially if I'm doing something that's themed like this and everything's matching the biome or country that I'm already in. So this is all, you know, trees that are already temperate and would match the scenery. And then I can utilize those trees inside habitats to make everything look like it belongs together and it's just one big forest. So you can see me doing that there. Finishing up this area with some rock work, although I did go back in later and do more after I'd fixed the path. Yeah, people complaining, I can't get out. It's insanely annoying when it's the children. The voice acting for them, they scream and cry. It's really weird. I'm not a fan of it. But I put a little water feature here in, and later on I went and put in a sign because when I went to the Toronto Zoo in Canada, I noticed they didn't really have fencing around open water areas. They would just have signs that would say open water as a warning for people. So there we're finishing up that and moving into the pronghorn and bison habitat, or at least the building outside of it. Now, I had a lot of trouble, particularly with this building. I kind of wish I had made the area where they go up into flat instead of that rise up to the door, because I couldn't quite figure out how to make it look nice on the inside, but hey, what are you gonna do? I actually ended up cutting out a huge bit of that because it just took up so much time. I think the way I have it now, it's okay. I kind of just lay down some concrete in a flattened area, and then I have it rise up. As I like to think of it as the lower part is more for the bison, so they don't have to climb the hill, whereas the upper part's more for the pronghorns in case they want to have their own little sleeping space. The cool thing that I've learned playing this game is, though, when you have an overhang for a viewing platform, that actually will count as hard shelter. So if you don't want to make an entire building like this or even do something that's more natural, you can just do that and surround it with rocks and make like a cave out of the path that's hanging over where they're viewing. And that's a really good way for the animals to be able to hide, because the people aren't going to be able to see them because they're below them. As long as you don't have some kind of viewing right across from that, then you should be fine. I think I'm going to go back eventually and redo this roof line because it was such a big building that by the time I was getting to this, I was just tired of it. I actually started this habitat filming for it anyways, like later on in the day, because I don't know. I think it's just, I don't know if it's a Planet Zoo burnout or just a building burnout, but I do want to go back in my own time just filming and do the inside of it, because right now the inside where the staff go is completely, there's nothing in there. There's just lights, essentially. There's no decoration, and I didn't finish it entirely, but probably off camera I'm going to do that because I wanted to move on to the interior space, which of course, as you know, is the rock work, which is my favorite. So here's me starting on that, and I realized pretty quickly that maybe I made this habitat too big. It's huge. I mean, it's for 2 species, and it's supposed to be like a prairie, but it took forever to fill in all the little spots I wanted to with rocks. So I don't think I'll be doing something this big again for a while, but I'm happy with it for what it is. I do not think realistically in a zoo you would have an animal like a bison with just that open area across the water, because they would just swim to you. As far as the game is concerned, they can't get up there, but I considered putting a fence just for realism's sake, but I haven't. So right now the whole side with water is essentially open to the public. They could go in, or the bisons could just get across, but according to the game, it's all fine. So there's blocking off a little bit of the overhang. Like I said, they can also go under there for hard shelter if they don't want to be in the same building together. Utilizing rocks for some higher up, and then I decided I didn't want the inner part to be completely flat, and I like being able to edge terrain with rocks like this because it adds some leveling and some interest to the landscaping, so I'm not just dealing with a flat expanse of long grass. About done here with the rock work, moving on to the foliage, which I actually did end up going back and adding more as I went because, again, I just felt like it was too empty in the center, which is a problem for me. I've noticed when I'm laying foliage, I really have this desire to just have clumps in corners of trees and then fill them in just like I'm doing right now. And I'm trying to get away from that and make it to where foliage is expanding out more into the center without actually cutting off the view of the animals. That's where I'm kind of having trouble deciding what's too much, because obviously guests don't want a bunch of trees in the way, but at the same time, pronghorns are actually shy when it comes to how many people are around them, so you have to give them plenty of places to hide and hide behind. And trees act as kind of a deterrent for viewing. Then I added in little patches of flowers for some color. I'm glad they added more variety of plants for the prairie, because it used to be North American temperate had essentially nothing. There was hardly any plants to put down, so it made it pretty tricky. I'm unsure if pronghorns and bison actually have like allotted for 100% coverage, because I seem to recall they didn't before. I don't know if it's something in my game that's different. It actually might be PZ Plus that's doing that, because I know that changes the requirements for size of the animals, and it might have influenced the foliage as well. I'm not exactly sure, because I'm pretty sure pronghorns and bison used to not like that much foliage. But again, I'm stealing some trees from the environment outside the park to help blend everything together. I think it makes it seem more seamless from outside the habitat to inside. Kind of acts as like a letting in the people, makes the barriers less obvious, at least to me. Here you can see I'm actually like, okay, I have to add trees within like the center, not just on the outskirts. So that's me trying that. I think I even added a few more because it still just seemed naked to me. More stealing of trees. Saves me money because I went bankrupt a lot during this build. I think I was like $7,000 in the hole at one point. It was a little scary, but I earned it back, and then I had to get another $5,000 loan. But just adding a little more color, and that's about it for this one. And leaving off with this nice screenshot of the habitat. I actually found it pretty difficult to get a good screenshot of everything that was going on, but I really wanted the bull bison, I'm not sure what the males are called, to be featured. And unfortunately I didn't get any pictures or video of it, but the turkey had some babies, so that was really cute. I'm not sure what animal I'm going to do next. I know I'm going to take a break and move on to building in The Sims 4 for a little bit, but I think I want to do grizzly as my next animal, just as one of the big ticket items, and then I might do either reindeer or the mountain lion. So if you have any interest in seeing that or seeing any of my Sims 4 content, go ahead and like and subscribe this video, and I will see you next time. Thank you.